Okay, everyone, today we have this modular home. This is a prefabricated modular home done in a modernist style. Found this online. Thought it looked really cool. I like a lot about it. And thought we could try to maybe take it to the next level with some classical architectural detailing. What I like about this is nowadays there's a lot of talk about affordable housing. And I read an article talking about modular or prefabricated homes. Used to be called mobile homes um, a while ago. And the article is just stating how we already kind of have very affordable housing, but people tend to not like it because there's a stigma attached to it, the looks of them, things like that. They're not even considered. But I think a product like this can maybe change some people's minds. It's very modern, sleek looking. Looks like something that, something people would want to live in. And so I'd like to try to take that, this look here, and maybe do some other things to it, maybe take it to the next level. And so the first thing I like to do when looking at a house like this um, is just make people feel comfortable with it. I want to try to speak to people with it. And so, what is this saying to us right now? It's not really communicating to us very much. You've got these panels on the side, kind of just put on the side there. We've got metal panels, we've got wood panels, we've got glass and steel, but it's really not speaking to us. I think consciously we know that a building like this has to pass building codes for things like seismic loads or wind loads, for earthquakes and for hurricanes, things like that. So consciously we know that this is going to be a safe building for us if they've, followed all the codes and standards. But how do we communicate that to our subconscious? How do we communicate that to our hindbrain, our lizard brain that's out looking into its environment and looking for a safe place to be, looking for shelter and safety? And so, if we take this here, one of the things that I think is happening here, you have these openings, and openings are one of the things that people look for. Is this safe for me to walk in? And a way to communicate that is to have a beam over the openings. That's what I like to do, is put a beam over the openings and then show how the beams are, the weight of the beam is being brought to the ground with columns. And if you see here, we've got kind of these metal panels over the openings, which could be beams. And these wood panels could be seen as support, but as like a support wall, but it's going up past the beam. The beam's not resting on this wall. So kind of visually, it doesn't look right. And, you could have a beam attached to the side of a column. I'm not arguing things like that. I'm just talking about very simply supported structures. A beam with a column on each side is something that reads very cleanly and people understand it kind of just by looking at it. People understand what's going on subconsciously, even if it's not consciously. So, what would I like to do here? What I'd like to do here, we've got three openings, and I think one thing to do to make this look very strong, very safe, is to make this whole area up here just one strong beam. So, we'll do that by making these panels go all the way across. Now we have this kind of really single strong beam going across all the openings here. And now that I've done it, you can see that the head heights are a little different at each opening, which is okay for now. If we were really doing this, it would be maybe nice to get the head heights the same. But for now, we'll put a band over that, kind of hide that for now visually. But take this and just really solidify that this is one long, strong, heavy beam. And you can even, decorate it up a little bit, really finish it off with a cornice there. So now we've got a beam, a strong beam going over all these openings, and then you've got this wall visually, looks like it's supporting it. But we have here this metal here, and I think I kind of like this look. And I think I'd like to not just have the beam here, but some idea of columns. Um, and again, just symbolic, but just something so that people can see, okay, this load is being carried down to the ground by columns. And so I'm going to imitate this here, this width and this look and this panel. I'm just going to copy it over around each side of each opening and in the corners. So now this beam looks like it's being supported by these columns at each opening, and the load is transferred down to the ground. Again, all symbolic, but I think it is what helps people read, again, subconsciously, that this is a safe place to enter, safe place to be. And so what do we do after that? We have a lot of glass here, and I think in modernism, there's kind of, and it is very cool, don't get me wrong, a lot of glass, if you have the right views, could be very nice. But I think in a lot of ways, especially in urban environments, a lot of glass is a little more romantic than practical. And when there is a lot of glass, you end up having to put curtains up right away. And so things like, let's just say the front door. We've got glass in the front door, which practically speaking, I don't think most people would want someone coming up to the door knocking and just looking right in the house. So I think one thing we can do with that is just go ahead and frost the glass there. So someone in the house, theoretically, yeah, if there's light in the house, you could still see their silhouette, but just something to give a little bit of privacy at your front door. And speaking of the glass again, we do have these large glass panels which look really good. And but there's one thing that I've seen with large glass panels in life and with myself is sometimes this glass, and just to be very practical and blunt, people tend to run into glass like this. And I've seen it twice where you have big panes of glass like this, people aren't paying attention, and they walk right into it. I've never seen someone break through it. I have heard stories of it, and that's obviously a very dangerous situation, but I myself have unfortunately run into a sliding glass door, and I've seen a couple people do it, and it's just not fun. And what happens is people just don't know it's there. So you'll go to someone's house and they'll have sliding glass doors, and then they'll have stickers all over the door. And if you've seen that, then then someone has probably run into that door. So I say all that to say, let's have something in here which will alert people that this is glass. And it's a traditional architecture styling cue that brings also kind of a human detail to human scale to this architecture. So one thing we do here is I'll just add lights. I call them lights, and this looks like a 12 light door here. And I'm doing this, you can't really see through it, and so people would know that there's glass here, but I'm going to do this on the other doors as well. Again, this is a modular home, and this is laid out kind of like a normal home, but in modular homes, if you've been to like a modular home park or something like that, what you'll have is the door on the side here, and then usually there's a sidewalk along the side here, and where the living room is usually going to be the front where you enter, maybe park. And so you'll walk along here to get to the front door. And right now they're showing glass looking out the back and glass looking out the side, which what they're showing, this context here is the site, then they may have a view out this way and they may have a view out that way, which is really nice. But I would think in most modular home parks, manufactured home parks, you're not going to have two really good views like this. So for this particular one, I'm going to imagine that the sidewalk kind of comes down the side here. And so you've got this big glass, and you don't want a visitor coming, or the mailman, or someone, a plumber, to come in, or even just a solicitor to just look into your house as you're walking by. And so instead of doing the whole frosted glass here and things like that, what I think would be kind of a cool detail um, for this, let's see where I've got it here, is to just add these doors and the mullion and the panel. And then this is kind of just, so these become door panels. And, someone is down here, their head, they can't just see right in. They kind of step up in these modular homes. Eventually, you'll have stairs to get up to here. So their head will be a little bit lower here. But now you've got sunlight coming in, but you don't have people looking in. So you can get sunlight, but not have prying eyes. And so that's just one solution here. Obviously, there's many different things you could do, but I think this brings in a nice classical element as well. It just looks really good. And I think you have the same idea here. You got a master bedroom, but you don't really want people looking in. And then you've got the open glass doors here, and you don't want people walking through them. So one of the things, I'll bring this detail, the detail of the mullions, over to the door. Well, first I'll actually create a bigger door with bigger stiles and rails, more of a French door look than a sliding door look, and actually have it function more as French doors. And then we'll bring the mullions in again. Just give it a nice traditional look. And then for the third layer, what I would do is I think most people would, bring in curtains for some privacy. So, you can have, you know, when there's when it's open, what you can just have the curtains open, you can see out whenever there's people around or whatever at night. Just close the curtains and now you've got your privacy. And so this is kind of the basics of what I think some classical detailing could really take this to the next level. And really, that's it for now. Let me know what you think. Thanks.